All right, guys, welcome back to Let's Talk Ball. This is episode 24. I'm back here with Spain, who you know, and we have a friend joining us today. This is Adam, our resident Newcastle fan. Adam, how you doing?
I'm good, man. I am on top of the world right now. Away win at Newcastle, I'll take that any day of the week.
There you go. There you go. In Spain, how about you?
Good, doing well. We're recording on Monday. This shortly after Newcastle just beat West Ham 1-0. Yeah, doing well despite Arsenal not beating United, who we should have beaten just based off of the states of the clubs, but did not deserve the win. So, doing well.
Yeah. As someone that did not have high expectations going into that match and seeing the way it went, I am in a good mood after that. And in general, it's been a few weeks since we got together and talked some footy, so I'm just excited to be back in general, get into some stuff that's happened over the last week or so, maybe look ahead into the future as well. But I think we want to start with United versus Arsenal. Those are the two clubs that Spain and I support, so let's start with that match. Spain, what do you think of the 1-1 draw? Now you touched on it.
I thought it was a fair result on balance, honestly. I thought Arsenal controlled the first half. Even though we didn't create that many chances, we had the ball and really kept United away from creating hardly anything in the first half. I got that late goal in the first half from Bruno. But I thought overall it was probably fair because United had a better second half. I thought we were below our standards in general in the second half, but fair result overall.
Yeah, I think I'd agree with that. I thought it was relatively even if you look at the full 90 minutes, but I agree with your assessment that we created next to nothing in that first half. I think we got away with murder there. I think open play XG was like 0.04. So Arsenal didn't really light it up in the first half as far as chances, but they at least controlled the ball a bit more and didn't really give us many chances from the United perspective. But I think one guy that was a bright spark in the match that might not be getting all the plaudits was Garnacho. I thought he had one of his better games for United, was creating a lot, and it didn't necessarily result in direct output, but he is the one that received the ball, drove to the top of the box, and got that foul that Bruno Fernandes eventually converted, and in general just thought was one of his better games. And then second half, like you said, United came out, and I feel like we were more confident than we usually look, and we're able to kind of play ourselves out of pressure, create some transitions. We went with that low block approach and definitely soaked up some pressure, but I think that kind of was a decent game plan for us because we know Arsenal is going to be able to outpossess us. Their build-up is a lot better than us, but they don't quite have, I don't think you guys, with the attacking injuries that you have, don't quite have the creativity in the final third to hurt us too bad if we sit back too much. And then I thought we did well in transition. But ultimately, I think 1-1 was fair. Declan Rice had a great goal to cap off a good game for himself. And then David Raya also stood on his head, and I think is the reason that we didn't end up coming away with 3 points there.
Yeah, I thought both teams had chances to win it at the end. Trossard had a shot from the top of the box. Odegaard had a shot from the top of the box. Not easy chances, but if a player in really good form would have scored that and could have been a winner. You guys had chances with Højlund having the one where he turned it over and Declan Rice made a crazy tackle from behind, and then one where it was the sleeper Gabriel blocked it right after Højlund made a good near post run, and then that Bruno chance late in the stoppage time where Raya made that first save, and then his reflexes to get up that quickly was crazy. He got up so quickly. The ball was spinning back towards the goal, got up with the palm and batted it away. Lots of drama, honestly, in the second half for a pretty boring and slow first half.
I could have done that.
Yeah,
I could have done that.
another
I could have done that.
great save was Mazraoui as well. Delo was coming down the left flank and crossed it to Mazraoui, who was I don't know, probably 6 yards out or something like that, and David Raya just hits it with a nice reaction kick save as well. So dude is definitely staying on his head too. I guess from a neutral fan's perspective, you have any takeaways from the game or anything that you noticed in general?
All right, look, hey, I played goalie. I started on the field. I played goalie, okay? I've been in both positions. I understand it. Raya stood on his head. Yeah, for sure. Guy's an animal, okay? He's an animal. He's in the top running for goalie of the season. But I could have made that reaction save. I know Spain doesn't like it.
Fair
I
enough.
could have made the reaction save. I could have got back up and made that reaction save. I know Spain doesn't like it. I know he's got something to say. But that's where I'm at. That's where I'm at. Spain see me play.
I'm not gonna counter it. I'm not gonna counter it. If you think you can do it, all for it. I'm just saying I was impressed by it.
No,
You have to be at least impressed by it, right? Or you think it was an ordinary reflex? So.
Oh no, without a doubt, without a doubt. Ryan's he's got steel balls. Let's say that he's got steel balls. This guy, he's standing on his head. He's saving Arsenal when they don't have the top goal scorer that they need with players out. You know, Raya is stepping up to the plate. I know there's been questions about him here and there, myself included in that group, but this guy's got it, you know, and if he stands on his head for the rest of the season, Arsenal's got a shot at the title.
Yeah, I feel like David Raya a couple times, like I feel like I don't know if it was like the City game recently, or there's like a couple times where I just feel like he's pulled out some pretty insane saves out of nowhere. I know a lot of people. I guess let me ask your opinion on this, Spain. How do you feel about the wall and goalie setup for Bruno's free kick? I've seen a lot of criticism online about that. Have you seen like some of the drama there? Not drama, but criticism.
I didn't see anything online, but I am critical of that. Like honestly, I think like my overarching theme for the game was a tale of two halves, both for how we played in the first half and second half, how United played first half, second half, and Raya first half, second half. Mostly just because he was at fault, I think, largely for the first goal against for Fernandez's free kick. He was super far over to the side. I think he was doing that so he could see, or he was maybe trying to bait Bruno and then assuming you'd get over in time. But it was a great free kick by Bruno, but it wasn't placed that perfectly or that hard to get to. I think Raya should have done better on the goal.
Yeah, I guess what people are seeing is, I guess one thing that's making rounds on social media is how far, I guess, to Raya's right he was, like covering like too far to the right.
Yeah.
I guess to play devil's advocate, I think he was a little bit too far when he was standing there, but as the free kick is about to be taken, he does shuffle over another step or two. Still might have given himself a little bit too much work
totally
to
normal.
do.
Goalkeeping wise, that's totally normal. You're going to front something else as opposed to giving your cards away. But continue.
Yeah, so he did that, but I think he got over a little bit, but might have given himself just a little bit more work than he needed to. But then also, I guess there's a lot of controversy, or I don't know if it's really controversial. I think it's relatively standard, but people are saying the line was, or the wall was just positioned a little bit farther back than it should have been. They think the ref took some slightly large steps. It goes 11.2 yards instead of exactly 10.
That's bullshit. That's bullshit, in my opinion. Good. Sorry.
Yeah, lots of pundits and ex-players coming out being like, yeah, before they even took the free kick, I thought, oh, that wall is awfully far back, you know. But I think not to take any credit away from Bruno still, like I think he hit it really well.
There's clearly an agenda against Arsenal, so of course the wall is too far back, right?
Exactly.
I'm not buying into that. I didn't see anything about that. I don't know why Raya was so far over. One idea is that he was trying to bait Bruno into going over the wall and was planning to get over and just didn't get over quick enough, like you said. Partially, I think he couldn't see, so he had a late dive. But yeah, I think he was positioned poorly, whether it was intentional or not, like to bait him. But yeah, I think he should have done better. I thought it was savable, honestly. Great free kick, but it wasn't, like I said, placed in like too hard or with too much power. So I think he should have done better. But he made up for it in the second half, obviously.
Mm-hmm. And then another top performer, Declan Rice. I want to talk about him for a second. My hot take is that I think going into next season, I wouldn't mind. Again, I'm not an Arsenal fan, so who am I to speak on this? But I would think Declan Rice might be a captain candidate for Arsenal, depending on, and like have Odegaard take a slightly reduced role.
Odegaard's the captain now?
Yeah. Yeah, Odegaard's a club captain right now, and I think Declan Rice, it'll be his third season with the team?
Second. No, third.
Yeah, like next season will be his third season with the team, so he'll be established enough as a squad player to earn that right. I think he does enough on the pitch and is a little bit more of like a pull the team up by their bootstraps kind of leader. Like Odegaard definitely is like a spirit, not a spiritual leader. What am I trying to say? Like he's a guy on the field that is like kind of like a
No,
coach. Who's also
Declan Rice
coordinating
is a
the
meat and
press.
potatoes leader. He is a meat and potatoes leader. He's the guy that's gonna.
What do you mean by that?
He's the guy that's gonna be like, hey, he's gonna make a hard tackle, and he's gonna look to the rest of the guys like, hey, this is the game we're playing. All right, these are the tackles we need to make here, and we need to hold that standard because we're Arsenal. I am setting the standard. We need to play like this moving forward in this game or matches forward, and we need to hold this line if we want to be where we want to be in the future.
Yeah, I feel like Declan Rice is just someone that's like he's so consistent in what he does, and he does the dirty work, but also can do the good stuff like scoring the goal that he did. Like I think he also created a goal. I mean, I guess scored a lot of goals in the Champions League, but I think he's been creating in Champions League for you guys. And he's just someone that like also seems more indispensable in the lineup right now than Odegaard does. So that I think that's something to look out for going into the next season. And I think bringing it back to this game, he was all over the pitch, making recovery tackles. He made that one huge recovery tackle on Ireland. He scored the goal. Like he's just someone that like during this period when Arsenal is not struggling, but like not at their top form due to injuries and whatnot, I think he's been the one player that I think has gone kind of as an unsung hero. Maybe at least as a neutral fan. I don't know what Arsenal
That's
fans
mean
think,
potatoes.
but as a neutral fan,
That's meat and potatoes. Doing the hard work, the nitty gritty work. Yeah, not goals and assists. That's what he's doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think, Spain?
I'd be for that. I don't think Odegaard would take it personally. I think it might be good for Odegaard to kind of take a weight off his shoulder because he's been underperforming this year. And I think, honestly, it would have Declan Rice even step up a little bit, be more consistent. I mean, it wasn't like 3 games ago he got subbed off early. It wasn't it wasn't up to his standard. I wouldn't say he's being criticized, but people were saying he wasn't like playing his best, and that was just like 3 games ago. But I think if we named him captain, it would make him even like rise to the occasion because he is that type of a personality where he does want to perform his best and meat potatoes guy. And I think it might help Odegaard to take weight off his shoulders because he's been. I think we mentioned it earlier. He looked kind of sickly, kind of gaunt in the face.
Yeah.
And this is just kind of like something's been following him all season long.
Yeah, I feel like it's something that goes so untalked about and unnoticed. I think sometimes is confidence goes so far in soccer, and I feel like once you get that shook a little bit, it can be hard to get it back. And I don't know if Odegaard is at that point because he's not playing terribly. Like he still created chances. Like he had the chance that he created for Trossard. There was a little combination play that he had in the first half that set up. I think it was a good chance for Marino as well. So he's still producing, but I think just not quite to the level that you'd like. And then what was confidence again? Like on the same confidence point. Like you look at Manchester City. I think they physically deteriorated this season and they're struggling, but I think a lot of it has to do what we're seeing there is also confidence. And I think Bernardo Silva and other players have come out and said the same thing. They're just not as confident in themselves. And like once you start thinking a little bit more about what you're doing instead of acting instinctively and like you start feeling the pressure, like things can kind of fall off and not flow as easily. I think the same thing with Højlund. Højlund on that chance where he recovered the ball like in the box and like could have put a shot away, like a competent striker like Isak or someone right now that's in form probably hits that first time. Like I don't hate that he took the first touch, but I think it was a first touch that gave a lack of confidence that he was thinking about what he needs to do and not just reacting. And so I think that stuff gets overlooked sometimes in soccer and can really be a detriment to a player's performance.
And then just go back to Odegaard, I think confidence and playing freely go hand in hand, and maybe just taking the weight of the captaincy off of him might make him play a little more freely.
Yeah, that's true. Very true. Very true.
And there's also talks about getting Rice to play as the 6 and then get another midfielder in. So that would just cement his position a little bit more, even though he's a starter for sure. But if we have him as the 6 and the captain, they could really just kind of have him submit that position as the 6 and propel the team forward.
Yeah. What do you think about this? I saw this, my favorite Arsenal fan that I follow on Twitter. A lot of people don't like him. His name is No New Thing. He loves talking squad building and stuff on Twitter, and he was talking about what's stopping an RVP level move of Arsenal putting in a bid to get some more creativity from Bruno Fernandes, get him off his peak years. Bruno Fernandes is the 10 for Arsenal coming in a RVP like move.
No, I'm not here for it. We've talked about this before, either on the pod or off the pod. I don't think Arteta could handle Bruno, just with the way he plays in the system. The way Arteta is so rigid in the system, and Bruno likes to play that pass, the pass out there just to break lines and whatnot. I think we would lose the ball too. We lose the ball too much for Arteta's liking.
You don't think he could adapt?
This guy sucks.
You think Bruno sucks?
This guy sucks. Sorry, go ahead.
I mean, Bruno is one of 3 players that has 25 goal involvements in his last 3 seasons in the Premier League.
Last 3 seasons?
Or I guess across the last 3 maybe not Premier League, but last 3 seasons, like 25 goal involvements, and the other 2 are Erling Haaland and Mo Salah.
Okay. All right. How many goals or assists do you have this season?
I think he's got like
how many non-penalties?
Or 12 or 13. Like he only just taken like 2 penalties all year.
2?
Pretty sure.
I just don't see Bruno fitting into the way we play, even though we could use a shake-up because we have been getting stale in terms of getting the ball up to around the box and not being able to create much. I'm also not a Bruno fan at all. I dislike Bruno quite a bit, so there's also some bias there from me. But going back to the point, I think he turns it over too much and is not the type of player to play in the system for Arteta.
Fair enough.
What are your thoughts, Tochi? I know obviously you don't want to lose. You don't want to lose them. But if you weren't a United fan, do you think you would fit in for Arsenal?
Do you think don't even ask him if he wasn't a United fan, because he's going to keep that hat on all day long. You know that, Spain.
I will, but I think if I wasn't a United fan, I think that type of top-end creativity is what Arsenal is lacking a bit of, I think. I don't know if I don't think it needs to come in the form of Bruno Fernandes, but I think someone like that should be the target for you guys, along with a high-level output attacker. I think you need someone that's going to be able to provide consistently more goals and assists from midfield. And I don't know who that player is, but I think that's someone that should be looked at. Like, I think a lot of people are hoping Fabio Vieira could turn into that type of player, and he will be back, so maybe that's going to be a good option for you guys. There's a player named Alex Baena, who's at Villarreal right now, who I think people are saying is like the next Bruno Fernandes type player, but I think someone of that ilk would be good for Arsenal.
I totally agree with that, and I think we talked about that on the one pod not too long ago. I mentioned Aaron Ramsey in his prime would have been perfect for Arsenal right now. So I totally agree. A goal-scoring midfielder would be huge for us. That'll provide assists as well, but they kind of primarily provide goals from a midfield position will be huge. So definitely agree. I just don't think Bruno is the right player, but I am biased and dislike him.
I mean, if we're talking about it, I would hate to see that too myself. So. I feel bad. I feel like we're hoarding Bruno's peak years for a bad team, but he's fun to watch, and he seems like he loves the club, so I appreciate that he's willing to do that. I guess general Arsenal real quick. You want to touch on what's kind of gone on over the last week or so and what you're looking forward to?
Yeah, outside of the first team, Max Dowman was a big talking point. I think we can touch on him real briefly. The U18 FA Cup, Youth Cup, Arsenal played United. United beat Arsenal's U18 team. Or United beat Arsenal's U18 team. Was it 3-2, I believe? What looked like a great game, but some highlights came out of Max Dowman balling. He was picking the ball up, driving, getting fouled a ton by United. He had one pirouette in the midfield where he got past 3 players and then got fouled. And then he had one where he played this really incisive through ball deep into his half, and those were my favorite parts of the highlights. But he's a very exciting player. He's only 15 right now, so he can't play for us. Something you point out to me, Tochi. But he did travel with us to Dubai on our winter break, so he's someone to watch out for next year. I'm very excited about him.
He was 15 years old in the U18 FA Youth Cup and was the best player on the field. And that's coming from a United fan who watched I didn't watch all the game, but I watched bits and pieces of it and tried to go back and watch the highlights from some of the best players. And he definitely was head and shoulders over everyone else on the field, which is kind of crazy to say for someone that's so young. He's looking like he's going to be a real talent and probably going to be used in the Premier League for Arsenal as soon as next season because he'll finally be of age. So definitely one to watch.
Yep. Yeah, very excited about him. But then other parts of Arsenal happened recently. We beat PSV 7-1 in the Champions League in the first leg. Huge win for us. It was nice to finally score some goals and prove that we can score goals. The big thing for me is just like PSV plays with a higher line. So we could run in behind, we could play passes behind, and they're just not up to the Premier League quality. They don't have
Did you see the goalie that they had? Did you see that goalie's performance? Come on.
Yeah, I'm not saying we were great by any means. I'm just saying like, PSV were terrible, and we proved that we could score goals. My point is I didn't expect it to translate to the Premier League, and I didn't think we were going to be fixed. I was hopeful, but didn't expect anything to change in terms of like scoring goals in the Prem because it is PSV, because of the way they defended, and because it's their division, not the Premier League. They don't know how to play against us or teams like us. But we do play the second leg this week. It'll be an easy pass onto the next round. And we'll play the winner of Atletico or Real Madrid, hoping it's Atletico, even though they're looking really good. Just because like Real Madrid's firepower up front scares me. But we'll see. Not too confident at the moment in getting past the next round if we don't get more attackers back. But Saka should be back soon, I've heard. Martinelli got into the game, so that's huge for us. So if we can get Saka back and able to start in the first leg, I'll give us a chance and be hopeful again. If we don't have Saka, it's 2 legs, so anything can happen. I'm not counting us out by any means. I'm going to go in hopeful, but I'll feel good about our chances if we have Saka back. Otherwise, I'll just be hopeful and know that we can pull it out because we have such a good defense and just need to pull out a couple goals.
Yeah, fair enough. How are you feeling about? I guess you guys are kind of all in on Champions League at this point. How do you feel about the league? You feel like sweating that out, or you like? I know Arteta, when asked about it this weekend, you see that post-match
he's walked out.
Yeah, and his answer to the previous question was funny too, and I can't remember what that was about either. But he gave
like buying a striker.
Oh yeah. Like,
are you
striker?
Yeah, not buying a striker. Yeah. I mean, you get asked the same questions every weekend. What do you want him to say? So I have no problem with him doing that. And I think the league's over. I thought the league was over last week.
He's gonna blend the ball.
He did that as a tactic to take pressure off the team, so they have something to talk about, not the players. So that was just a good tactic on his end. He wasn't doing that because he actually believed the ball made a difference. And it does work because people are talking about that and not talking about the team. He knows what he's doing. He's taking the blame. He's a good manager. But yeah, I think the league's over. I thought it was over last week. I've given up on it really, and we dropped 2 points in the race again. So it's a further gap this week and one less game to go.
I gotcha. Yeah, I like the shout out about. I love the little dark arts that managers play with the media as far as that goes. Like saying things like, because Ruben Amorim also does a very similar thing that I've noticed. He'll like kind of make like a statement that he knows is going to be the headline, and it's like a very subtle way to take pressure and like get the media off of your players' backs. So I do appreciate when coaches do that. And then I thought also, I don't know if you guys saw, but like after the Man City's FA Cup win, Pep said something similar about the FA Cup ball as well. He said that ball is really hard to keep down. And I wonder if that was something similar because they came out and struggled in that first half against Plymouth as well.
Yeah, so Pep has learned from Arteta. The pupil has become the teacher in a way.
Exactly.
Pep following Arteta's
I'm disgusted at this. Stop.
Let's see. You got anything more Arsenal?
No, that's all I got.
Nice. I'll talk United real quick, and then we'll take a real quick break. So for me, the only general United thing I want to talk about was we came out and played Real Sociedad in the Europa League, ended up tying that game 1-1. And so we've got them again on Thursday, and I thought that was probably like the biggest win as far as like the Arsenal match this weekend was that we came out of the Arsenal match. We still look competitive, but we're able to give some players some rest, I think, ahead of the Europa League clash, which is going to be our biggest game of the season so far. Obviously, league, we've got nothing to play for. We're out of the relegation zone, but then also can't really make a European spot in the league unless we like all of a sudden win out. So we're definitely trying to put all of our chips in this Europa League basket. And so we got a big match against Real Sociedad on Thursday at home. Should be able to be all right. We rested Ugarte, so he'll be back. Kabi Manu may be back. Maybe a little Mason Mount appearance for the first time in a few months. And then Højlund also came off the bench against Arsenal, so he'll be a little bit more fresh for that, although he's not scoring many goals. I do think he's sneakily playing better and at least getting on the end of chances, even if he's not confident with them. And then I just want to give my general outlook. I know we talked about this on the pod a few weeks back, Spain, on like what I wanted to see from United. And I want to give a quick update on that. So for me, I think I'm pretty happy with what I'm seeing from United and Ruben Amorim. The results aren't like dazzling. They're not, back to back to back wins, but I am seeing more semblance of a team. I'm seeing a team that's starting to play out from the back a little bit more. I think a few weeks back, we were definitely just playing long every single time, but we're starting to get some of the patterns down, able to soak up pressure and break through and then create some of these transition opportunities. And then defensively, I think we're looking relatively solid. We did give up that goal to Declan Rice, but a lot of our goals that we give up are either set piece or scrappiness and stuff like that, not too much from open play. So I like to see that as well. But overall, I think he's doing a decent job with the tools that he's got, and I'm excited to see what he can do if he gets a good transfer window this summer. And it sounds like the club are ready to back him. Sir Jim and Gary Neville had a interview that dropped today on the Overlap, and he is the owner, for those that don't know. They're like the owner / head of the sporting side for United, and he came out and said that he believes in Amorim and he thinks he's going to be here for many years. So I think that's a good public backing from the owner to kind of say like, hey, I know results aren't great, I know we're in 15th, yada yada yada, but this is our guy and we're going in on this guy.
What do you want him to say?
I think he doesn't have to say anything at all. He offered up that information.
What do you want him to say? I mean, this guy should be out 2 years.
No, I just think it's tactical to come out and say, I think he'll be here for many years, trying to basically say, like, if you think his job is under any pressure due to United being so low on the table right now, like, that's not the case, is what he's saying. Like, I think you don't have to come out and say anything. You could just say, he's our guy, that's what we chose. But I think the way that he phrased it in the strong wording that he used, it was like, I think it was definitely purposeful. Like, I think a lot of these people are more savvy with the media than they may let on, and they say certain things and let certain things be clipped and be headlines for a reason. And I think that was tactical. It was essentially, or purposeful, I should say.
Gotcha.
But yeah, overall, I think I'm feeling good about the progress. Like I said, I just wanted to feel a little bit better. Like, I just wanted to go from terrible to bad. And I feel like that's kind of what we've done. So I'm excited to see if he can continue to get things moving in the right direction for us.
Mm-hmm. Adam, do you think Amorim should be fired? Do you disagree with the take of him being there for a long time?
I don't think he should be fired. I think the commentary is that's just gentlemanship from whatever Neville said that. I think that's just gentleman commentary. They're not going to condemn nor deny somebody's position. I do think Amorim needs a little bit of leeway given the history and track record of Man U managers since Sir Alex Ferguson. Personnel, he started to make some shifts. He shipped Rashford out, kind of offset that bill for the club. And maybe a few other people here and there. I'm not totally attuned to that, but it's going to take some time. I've started to see a shift in that club, especially as far as play style goes. As far as how they play and the intensity of which they're playing. Højlund, he hasn't had a starting role, but I think he's bought into the system. I've seen a lot more intensity and passion from him as far as buying into the whole general system. Which, I mean, as far as Newcastle goes, dude, that's the whole thing. Like, you can't be a one trick pony player with Newcastle. You have to buy into the system, and so I think Højlund is a case study into how a player can buy into a system and kind of win his spot back despite injuries and whatnot.
Yeah. I
Nice.
think
I think that's
Amram's a pretty charismatic guy, and he seems like someone that, like, if you're close to him, you really root for him type of deal. So I think that's one thing that he's got going for him is he's such like a strong, like, I think he's a leader of men in a way that, like, he gets people wanting to buy into his system, and I think that's something that United need because Erik ten Hag was not that guy. He wasn't someone that inspired a whole lot of passion and pizzazz. I think Amram's the opposite. So I think players are buying into that and will support that. And then as things get better on the field, they'll buy into it even more. And then I will say part of Højlund's probably like fire right now is that he hasn't scored in so long that he's definitely the type of player that, like, I think it was last season. Last season he was on, like, exactly. He's playing angry. Like last season he was on a scoring drought, and when he scored against Aston Villa in the Premier League finally, like, it felt like a true like cathartic release that he had, and he just was I don't think he knew what to do with himself.
The monkey's off the back. The monkey's off the back.
Exactly. And so I think that's also part of why he's going so hard. Like, you've seen a couple times. I think it was our Europa League game on Thursday. Diogo Dalot was so clear, and Højlund had like the easiest little, like, just cross it across the box on the ground, and Højlund had like essentially a tap-in opportunity, and Dalot just didn't even try to pass it. Like, not like he missed him. He just like looked up as if Højlund wasn't there, and then turned around and like
I'm
passed
sure
it
that
backwards.
pissed that there. I'm sure there was a locker room.
Yeah, I think Højlund was.
I'm sure there was a locker room
Højlund
after that.
Yeah,
he made a really good run. Got across the defender, kind of shielded him off. It got him on his backside. Great run. Got him made a perfect position for himself. And Dalot just completely just looked at him and didn't play the ball. I was shocked when he didn't play that ball.
Yeah, so I think he's all that to say he's due for a goal. I think he's playing better. His runs have gotten a little bit better, his movement and stuff like that. So I think as soon as he gets one, he'll get a couple others. But right now he's playing like a player that's really, really low on confidence, and really just wants to get that monkey off his back, for lack of a better.
All I have to say, Amorim is a stooge.
Fair enough. I guess we'll see. Let's take a quick break and come back. All right, we're back from the break. We just got done talking about United versus Arsenal, and now let's go into Newcastle. You guys played this afternoon. Up the tune, you guys got a big 1-0 win on the road against, what's his name, Graham Potter in West Ham.
Yeah, I am on top of the world, okay? Let me just tell you that. I was nervous. I was very nervous. First half, we weren't getting anything done. West Ham was throwing 10 bodies back, which doesn't play well to Newcastle's system. Newcastle's system is built on fast play, very fast build up from the back and counterattacking play. That's their bread and butter, right? Mid-block press. So winning the ball in the middle of the field and pressing from there. That's Newcastle's bread and butter, right? And honestly, West Ham wasn't allowing that. I'll be honest. They weren't allowing that for the whole game, honestly. They were throwing bodies back. We got great set piece. I think a shining star in the team was Livramento. He with Lewis Hall being out for this rest of the season at left back, they shifted him over to left back. And he's not. That's a big change real quick for him. And he doesn't have a left foot, but he excelled. He doesn't have a left foot. Every single time he drove down there, people played him the ball like it was Lewis Hall. Oh, it's on his left foot. Let him cross it. Every single time, Livramento dropped it right back and cut back on his right foot. Every time. I get it. I've been in that position. I get it. All right? But, That's a tough, Newcastle and Eddie Howe's system. Eddie Howe, he's a good manager, but I think he could do more with trying to expand his difference with adjusting to different teams. And what I mean by that is, Newcastle is good at on the break offense. That's how they score their goals. That's how they capitalize on teams. That's why they play well against teams with the high line and maybe not teams that sit back. But I think Eddie Howe could get a lot more out of Newcastle by changing tactics here and there. It's feast or famine. You press, force the team to get the long ball, and then you try to do the exact same thing. You try to beat them on the break, and that's feast or famine with that. It sucks, but we're not going to have Alexander Isak scoring 19 goals a game or 19 goals in a season every season. That's just not going to happen. Like, we have to produce goals elsewhere. That's just not going to happen every single season.
Yeah.
And Isak really isn't going to next year when Arsenal buys him over the summer.
Okay.
So
Okay. Yes, but there's going to be a heavy price tag. There's going to be a heavy price tag on that. So as long as you're willing to pay the price, I'm okay with that.
Yeah. Do you guys see the rumors about, I think it's pure rumors. I don't think it would ever happen. But
a trade?
PSG. Yeah, PSG.
And I sent that to you guys. I sent that to Ogu, I think. I sent that to Tochi. I don't think I sent it to you, Spain.
It was in the chat. No, I saw it.
Oh,
you were like,
hammer down.
Yes or something.
Hammer down. I would take that in a heartbeat. We take those amount of freaking studs for Isak. Isak's a great player. He's a stud. He is creative. He's a goal scorer. He's an absolute savage. We need to get a haul for him to make it even as far as the exchange goes for when he leaves. And I'm not saying if he leaves. I'm saying when he leaves, because he's not staying at Newcastle United. I know that for a fact. A lot of Newcastle people are not comfortable with that, but that is the case. He's leaving at some point.
Yeah. I've got two things to come back to. So one, going back to what you're talking about, about Newcastle's play style, I think that is one of the hardest jumps to make. I think a lot of teams that are mid to good, upper table teams can play that kind of just be a super solid mid block, really physical, really beat teams on transition and stuff like that. But I think the difference between those teams and your Cities, your Arsenals, your Liverpools, they have the quality to that when teams do sit back, they have the quality on the top end of the pitch to create chances when teams are sitting back in a low block and kind of pick teams apart. They have they can play different ways, and not everyone can do that.
Yeah, 100%. Eddie Howe cannot judge that. I mean, do the players have skill to do that? Sure, I think so. I think they can adjust to the different tactics. I think we have a squad enough. We've spent enough money. We've got the squad and the skill. We're healthy enough to do that. I think so. Does Eddie Howe want to do that? And is he as adjustable as other managers in the league? I don't think so. The last time an English manager won the Premier League was in 1991. So let's just take that into account. I'm not saying Newcastle is good enough to win the Premier League, but let's just take that into account. Okay. English football is in a certain standard and in a certain parameters of how they teach things.
I see. I feel like one thing that a huge haul for Isak could do is kind of get you some attackers that might be more suited to that style of play. I'm trying to think. I feel like for that style of play, you need some players that are good 1v1. I don't know who Newcastle has that's necessarily great. I feel like
Anthony Harvey Barnes. Harvey Barnes. That's why I don't think he gets enough play time. This game today was his first starting game, and there was you could tell there was a lot of disconnect because he hasn't played as much time with the first team.
Mm-hmm.
But that's why I bought his jersey. Yeah. He is electrifying. He is the closest thing to St. Maximin that we've had since he's been gone.
Gotcha. So I think
good.
Good to see that. Go ahead, Spain.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think Gordon is good, but you definitely need an upgrade in Jacob Murphy on the right to play that style. Jacob Murphy is good in the Eddie Howe system in transition, but when you play against teams set in a low block, he's not the type of player that's going to go one-on-one and deliver in a really good ball and be creative on his own. So I think that's a good point you make about Isak funds being used to get more talent to be able to break down teams.
So I thought the same thing, Spain. What do you think about this? Jacob Murphy and Isak is I think top 3 as far as connections go as most productive attacking forwards in the Premier League. Him and Isak. And yeah, he's not the most clinical. He's not the one-on-one type of guy. I agree 100%. He does have that connection with Isak though, it seems.
Yeah, and I think it's because he's fast and good in transition and can put in a good early cross when there's like space. I've seen him do that a bunch of times. So he does have like a good connection and can like still provide a good ball. But I don't think in the low block he's going to be that person to create
I agree
for
with that,
Newcastle.
Yeah. But I guess one thing I want to turn around to you is, at least for me, I think a big way or like a big reason that Isak might stay is if you guys can secure a Champions League position. I think without Champions League or European football, you're going to lose more pieces. Like you might see a Bruno G finally make that move away from the team. You might see or probably see Isak leave regardless, but I think if you can get Champions League, you can make a much better case for that. You have more money to go around and whatnot. I guess all that said, what do you think are your odds at a top 4 finish, then top 6, and then do you think Isak leaves regardless?
I think top 5 is what we're thinking for Champions League.
Of the coefficient.
Unless you're assuming that United win and take away a spot. Because I think that's how that works.
Yeah. I mean, well, I guess like top 5 is... Are they guaranteed giving the 5 spots to the Premier League?
I think it's looking really strongly likelihood based off how all the teams have been performing across the 3 European leagues.
Gotcha. Makes sense. Well, I am banking on United winning Europa League for the record. But all that to say, what do you think?
Dude, honestly, I mean, Bruno, it's the nature of the club that we have right now, as far as Newcastle United goes. They're not technically a Big 6, even though they are one of the better clubs that are categorically in the Big 6, that are close to that level. I think Isak is definitely. I'm very confident that if we get to Champions League football this year and qualify for it, I think Isak is staying. I think he wants to see that out. I think he's that type of guy. He wants to see it. He wants to get his back. He wants to win. We've heard all the quotes, whether it's different sources or not. He wants to win. He's a winner. Okay, he's shown that with his performances. He's shown that with his interviews. He wants to win. I think he'll give it one more go if we qualify for the Champions League with this squad. I mean, you guys have seen the passion and the absolute insanity of St. James Park when the Champions League is at that club. It is insane. You guys have seen that is insane. The amount of fire and noise with every single winning tackle. People like Bruno, Dan Burn, Anthony Gordon feed off of that. That.
Do you know who else?
Bruno G, Anthony Isak, or Alexander Isak.
Longstaff.
Spain.
He feeds off those nights. He was electric in that Champions League run. I think he got the winner against PSG, maybe.
Yeah. Okay. Sure. Let's do that. Yeah. That's yeah. Sean Longstaff, even that guy's electric in those moments. Okay. Well, we need a guy who needs to play 2 ways. Sean Longstaff is not your guy. I would much rather have Tonali than Sean Longstaff. Okay. They both have respect to Longstaff. They both have great motors. Phenomenal motors, both of them. absolutely elite motors with Sean Longstaff, I would say. Offensively, Sean Longstaff, not the guy. Tonali, put him in there. I'll take him.
Yeah, that's fair.
Um,
No, agreed.
So do you think Newcastle can finish within a Champions League spot to hold on to these players?
Look, right now we're tied with Man City at 5th. We're tied with Man City on points at 5th. Yeah. We got 1 point ahead of us with Chelsea, in 4th. And Bournemouth, from what I suspected, Bournemouth dropped off. There was no way they were going to sustain that. I suspected the same thing with Nottingham Forest, but I was wrong. They did not drop off. To beat out Man City, and I'm not so much saying about Chelsea, but to beat out Man City because of the reputation the past couple of years, that's a tough one to beat as far as top spots in the league. Even go ahead.
I mean, there's
you also have Brighton right behind you, 1 point behind. Who's on fire right now. They've won four in a row in the league. You got Villa is only 2 points behind you guys, but you guys do have a game in hand on them. But they seem like they're starting to get things clicking. Yeah. So there's a lot of teams in and around that fourth to 10th place is separated by 7 points.
It could change up. We could easily finish 10th. Yeah, we could easily finish 10th if we bottled up. That's for sure. Yeah, I'm on. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, any of the teams from 3rd to 9th could finish in the top 5 places. It's really close. Every team is really good, really well coached in there. They have their really good days. They can beat anyone on their best day. They have some slip-ups in there just based off of the strength of the league. So it's going to be a really fun watch for the top 5 race.
Also, losing Lewis Hall for the season really sucks.
Yes,
that really sucks. He's.
Yeah,
you go ahead.
I'll talk after you. No, that was going to be my biggest takeaway from watching Newcastle today. I thought the game was a little slow, mostly because West Ham were kind of sitting back, and Newcastle were taking on the pressure. Like you were saying, Eddie Howe wasn't switch up the team, wasn't switch up the tactics. I think that was a great point you made, Adam. I agree. I don't think Eddie Howe is the great tactical manager and is not the manager to lead you guys to that transition to the point you were making, Tochi, about being able to play in different styles and break down the low block. And so I thought the game was a little slow because of that. And also because the ball, like Adam was saying, kept going up the left side multiple times to Livramento, who is a good player, but playing out of position at left back because Lewis Hall, who is one of your best players of the season so far, who can get up and down with his left foot, could put in a really good cross, was having tons of assists. But every time Livramento got the ball, he just turned back around, recycle it, pass it backwards. He's not good. You're not going to get a cross from Livramento at all on the left side with his left foot.
Yeah, it was so brutal. Really tough for you guys. It was so brutal to watch that.
Yeah.
I mean, you'd get it down there and then have to pass it back, and it would kind of break up the attack. And then West Ham will get in with their big defenders, big midfielders, and kind of just sit in.
Yeah.
And it was slow. You did score off a cross eventually, but there really wasn't that much happening in terms of creating chances.
Yeah. Yeah, I think as someone that was watching United play without a left-footed left back / left wing back for so long this season, I can empathize with the not having a natural left footer holding width out there. It is brutal to watch that sometimes.
Literally every single time.
And then
every time.
I don't know how was Botman playing for you guys recently?
And that's a whole nother thing. We got a $70 million center back who's sick when he's healthy, but hasn't played a full season. He hasn't played a full month of healthy soccer yet. We're hanging on to shreds of Fabian Schär and Dan Burn at center back right now. Which the towers are standing right now. But
all respect to Dan Burn, I just can't believe the man plays so much. Just given kind of how oafish he looks, but he's
a dog.
He's good. He deserves it. He fights for his spot.
He's a dog.
He earns it. But just like looking at him for the first time I saw him play with Brighton years ago at left back, I just can't believe the career
Yeah,
he
I
made
know,
and
right?
really how consistently
He's
he's
a
been playing.
dog. He's a dog. I saw him trying to
Yeah.
catch up to Kudus, and he made it a battle. He made it a battle. He's outmatched in age, speed, size, all the above. Every parameter you can think of, he was outmatched. But he's got that dog in him. He tracked that guy down to the
He's
furthest
got all that
end line.
dog.
Yeah, I was
But
dogging on
wasn't
Trip.
outmatched in heart.
I was out dogging on Trippier in past pods, but I will give him his respect because he was also on a foot race against Kudus, held him up enough and
Nope.
stopped Kudus from a
I'm right.
one-on-one and prevented a goal. So I will give my
I'm right
flowers
there with
to
you.
Trippier for
I
that one.
have been dogging Trippier too. He's our defense for the most part. Oh, they're old. They're washed. You know, we got three
They're old.
33-year-olds. Yeah, we got three
gotta respect
33-year-olds across the back line, and we got Pope back there who's seeing the horizon of 32. But Trippier surprised me. He did well. He did well today. He really did well today.
Well, I love to see Newcastle doing their thing. I was glad you got to come on here as a happy Newcastle
Man,
fan.
it's been a
Not
while
sad.
since it's been a happy one, so I'm glad you guys had the opportunity to bring me on. I appreciate it.
Of course, of course. Let's real quick. You got anything else, Newcastle, you want to touch on before we get out of it?
Hey, all I'm saying, give Harvey Barnes more time in the first team. Let's see what this guy does. Let's see how electric he can be. Give him some time in the first team with the first players. That's all I got.
How do you want to make room for him? You want to play him left wing and move Gordon right wing?
Hey,
Gordon right,
even
or like
sit
vice
Gordon a
versa?
game. Let him rest a little bit. Let him rest a little bit. Let him give.
Oh wow.
Give Harvey Barnes a full 90 minutes. Today he did good. There's obviously a little bit of difference with timing and where people were on the pitch, and but him and Gordon. He's more attacking minded than Gordon, in my opinion. He's more skilled one-on-one than Gordon, in my opinion. As far as taking people one-on-one, I think that opens up a lot more for Isak eventually. I'm not just selfish because I have his jersey. Okay, let's get that straight. But I want to see him get a little bit more play time. Gordon, whether you move him to the right side, give Jacob Murphy a break, sure. That gives, Gordon more time to put in balls on his favorite foot, sure. But that also gives Barnes more time to cut in on his right. And he's, in the times he's spent, he scored 2 goals against West Ham and a goal against Wolves, cutting in on that right foot. And he's a take people on type of player, which we don't have a lot of on Newcastle. So he's a take people on first guy. I think we should give him some more time.
Fair enough. Shout out Eddie Howe. I hope you're listening. I hope you got that because you got some gold being dropped on you right now. Let's see, though. Let's move on to some of the other results from the weekend real quick. We don't have to go as in-depth on these, but I thought these were notable to talk about. First one, as we just got done talking about Newcastle, top 4 hopes. This is another huge matchup in the top 4. Forest beat Man City 1-0 this past week, and I think that's a huge, huge result for Nottingham Forest. I mean, they've just been quite a surprise this season, I feel like. What do you think, Spain?
Yeah, the Tricky Trees, as one podcast I used to listen to called them, have had a huge season. Did not expect them to be this good. Unfortunately, this podcast I think they stopped making. It was a soccer sports betting one. So I'm really bummed about because I loved Forest. So I was really looking forward to hearing them this season. I'm going to have to figure out what happened to that pod so I can get their perspectives or maybe just DM them. But no, they're playing great. I love all the characters on the team. And Hudson-Odoi, also someone very likable. It was really cool to see him get a late winner against City. I think Ederson was poor at the near post. Ederson's been questionable throughout the season. But really good for Hudson-Odoi just to take Guardiola one-on-one. Guardiola was slow to cover, getting over, but Hudson-Odoi got over and had a really nice near push shot.
Do you think that was all on Ederson? You think so?
Covered the near post. I mean, I think it's on him and Guardiola. Guardiola slow to close him down, and he never really put pressure on Hudson-Odoi. Made it way too easy for Hudson-Odoi.
Yeah.
But Hudson.
No pressure.
Yeah, go ahead.
No pressure till he was 8 yards out.
Yeah, none. No.
No pressure. I don't know about you.
Yeah. Yeah, so maybe Guardiola won, and then Ederson still at fault, but yeah, Guardiola did not get out there and never
Hey, I'm
tried to
assuming
close
these
Hudson's
guys
boy
can
down.
shoot with the velocity that Brendan McDonough shoots at in Spain. You know what I'm talking about? I don't, and I used to think like, hey, goalie, you got to save that. If I'm getting ripped at from 8 yards out with the velocity of somebody who's either at Brendan McDonough's level or more than that, Brendan McDonough is a semi-pro soccer player that we played high school with. Anyways, that if somebody's shooting at me with that velocity from 8 yards out, I'm gonna need you to close a little bit sooner than that as a goalie. That's all I'm saying. Like, yes, he should have had his near post
Yeah, I'm
for
with you.
sure, but that shot is rocketing at you. Like Ogu and that penalty shootout we had last week. That last goal that I let in, that dude just stepped up and ripped it. He didn't place it. He just stepped up and ripped it. I had no idea where that ball was going. I just chose a side. Okay?
Yeah, yeah, I feel you. I just rewatched that. I watched the highlight, and I see what both of you are saying. Like, I think Guardiola definitely could have stepped to him sooner, but I think at the same time, from that angle, he's kind of only got one option of where to go. Like, if he goes across your body and scores, that's an incredible finish. I
But
think he's got
Guardiola
it like
wasn't at that point to
near
have
post
that closed
coverage.
off yet. He hadn't been that close to close that off yet. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, if Hudson Dwight roofed it like Saka's done once or twice, I get it. But yeah, I mean, it was a really, really weak attempt by Ederson to even put a hand to it.
I think I think you guys misunderstand how all right, anyways, you guys how fast that ball is coming at you from 8 yards out.
Dude, these are professional goalkeepers though too.
Hey, hey, professional,
This is the
I
non-professional.
don't
job.
know. I feel like Onana saved a very. I feel like there was a very almost identical situation in the United game yesterday where Martinelli was like in on goal from that same right angle, and Onana made like a reaction save, and I think it's purely just because he was far enough over that like he doesn't have to move his arms too
Well,
far, and
that's
like he
the
still
thing
was
is
like cutting off the ankle band.
who's the defense
He
in
just put
front
his
of him?
chest out.
Who's closing what off? That's the thing is who can you trust in front of you to close the certain angles off? That makes your attention. That's why, for instance, Raya, he thought so heavily on his wall to block that goal or block any shots coming on that side. That's why he was so far over, right? He trusted his guys. That's part of what Ederson, you know, lacked. He didn't trust his guys to take away that far side.
Yeah, yeah. I guess Hudson Odoi is also. What is he? Is he?
He's on a
No, is he a lefty or righty? Like a
He's a righty.
really
He's a
strong
righty. He's a
righty.
righty.
Like, yeah, you're right. Yeah, so I think he's like very reliant on his right foot though. So like, I don't know. If I'm Ederson, I'm definitely thinking he's shooting that right foot near post.
You
But
say that, but
hey, to
you
each
don't
their
know
own.
until you're in that. That's all coming to you pretty quick. That information is all coming to you pretty quick.
Fair enough. I think I will still say. I don't know. I just rewatched it a couple times. No one there covered themselves in glory besides Hudson Odoi. I'll say that.
Yeah, Ederson should have saved it for sure.
Stop.
Yeah. But my main takeaway, don't want to get too caught in the weeds here. My main takeaway here is that I think Forest just did themselves a really, really, really big favor in that top four race. And that might be like what guarantees them at least a top six finish, like European finish. But top four looking like even more of a reality right now. I think they're sitting, are they what, 4 points clear of Arsenal? Or no, are they in third or
City.
second?
They're in third. They went
in third.
they went into the game 1 point ahead of City. So this head-to-head game was
City.
massive.
City.
Because City was right behind them, and so that was a 4 point gap because Newcastle or because
What
Forest
do you
beat them.
guys think is bringing Nottingham
Nice.
Forest to this present day? What do you think is the big differential? Because Espiritu Santo has been with Wolves. He's been in the Premier League. He's seen the competition. What do you think is the biggest difference between him with Wolves and him with Nottingham Forest?
I think they have a,
You
go ahead. You got it.
I was gonna say for me, I think Forest are probably just a better run club than Wolves at this point, and I think they got recruitment right. I think Forest spent a lot of money recently, and they brought in a lot of players, but they have a few that really, really hit. Like I think Callum Hudson-Odoi was a good signing for them. Anthony Alango, very, very good signing for them. Like they got players at the right time that have kind of all developed together. Ola Aina, he's someone that probably wasn't known before he went to Nottingham Forest, but he was like a Premier League quality player that kind of bounced around clubs and went over to Italy for a little bit. They brought in the right pieces, and then they all those pieces fit together very well. If you look at their team, it's a bunch of players that they're physical and they're runners. Like their midfield is really physical. Elliot Anderson, Morgan Gibbs-White, Ryan Yates.
I hate that we let Anderson go. I hate that. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like just quality players.
That was going to be my standout signing by them was Elliot Anderson.
Yeah. Elliot Anderson, Callum Hudson-Odoi, and Anthony Alango are great matches for a player like Chris Wood. You knock the ball up to Chris Wood, he can hold up play with the best of them, and then Morgan Gibbs-White or Chris Wood can find these runners in Alango and Callum Hudson-Odoi that are always running. And then I just feel like overall all the profiles mix together well. Like I think that's the difference between a good club and a great club is you can get good players, but how well do those players all complement each other? And I think Forest's team just complements each other very well.
Yeah, that's all I was going to say is good squad building and then really good coaching from Espiritu Santo. They have like 31% possession, but he's got them playing in a way that works well for all their players, and then they've started building up confidence.
You said really good coaching. I mean, how is his coaching different from when he was coaching Wolves? I mean, if coaching is the standard across both teams.
Yeah, choosing the right players. I don't know if he had to say in who they bought. So it might have been more like the back office in terms of like the squad building, but playing them and giving the wingers, telling them how to play, how to hit it on the counter, and giving them the freedom to go and run, and then telling the midfielders like where to kind of sit back, play deep, win the ball, and then get the ball up in transition as fast as possible. Like just pass forward quick, get the ball up to the wingers, get the ball up to Chris Wood, have it spray wide, play it in the middle to him.
I mean, that's easier said than done. Do you think anything he's telling them is like, because Eddie Howe has a similar tactic, right? You know, you're pressing mid third, right?
Yeah.
You're trying to win the ball early and getting it up there and transitioning quickly.
Yeah, it's hard to say like what all Nuno's doing to do the right things, but the results are paying off. So I think there's got to be a lot of coaching involved, and it might just be man management more than anything too. Everyone looks happy, everyone looks confident, and it's working for them. So I can't really speak too much about the details in terms of like the other tactics, other than like their fast transition and getting the ball quickly. But those are my takeaways.
Yeah, I'd say like man management might go a long way. He seems like a super, super likable guy. If I've seen some of like the off-field stuff that he does as well, and he just seems like someone that like you want to play hard for. And then on top of that, who knows? Like I can't claim to have watched Nuno's Wolves super closely, but you learn as you get more experience as a manager, and I think the little details, although the main philosophies of like mid-block, play hard, counterattack might be the same. Like the little intricacies and details of how you execute that are different sometimes, like depending like who you rely on to lead your transitions. Like Morgan Gibbs-White is a very, very, like he's a one-man transition. He can pick up the ball on his box, carry it all the way to the other box, and find the final ball. I think that's like a hard profile to find. And then in general, they also just have players that have stepped up. Like I already touched on this, but they just have players that have stepped up. Like I didn't even mention their defenders, like Murillo or
that guy's a
Murillo
dog.
Or whatever. Like
that guy's a dog.
Proven to be very, very good. Sells is super solid in goal. Like I just feel like you said, just squad building. I think that's the main difference between Nuno's Wolves and Forest.
Honestly,
I think Forest
like a
was a
Leicester
better club and did a better job.
Yeah, it's like a Leicester. Individual talent isn't, 1v1v1v1v1 isn't there, but collectively, they are all pulling the rope the same way. I think that's how Leicester won that championship too, is they did that for long enough.
Yeah, and that's why United can sign players for £80 million, but it doesn't matter if they don't fit together well. It doesn't matter if you're not signing the right players that complement each other, That's all I really had there. Let's move on to Liverpool Southampton. That one ended up 3-1 in favor of Liverpool. It's disappointing to see that they came away with another win here. They did go down early, and I thought maybe, just maybe, we'll see something crazy. But that one ended up 3-1. Mo Salah inevitably got his 2 penalties, I think.
Brace. Yep, penalty brace.
A penalty brace. No matter what happens, they can play as bad as they want. Doesn't matter. Mo Salah is going to end up with some points in fantasy at the end of the game. Liverpool is going to end up getting away with something. I didn't even see the penalty calls. I don't want to look.
Don't do it.
Myself off. But yeah, tough to see another Liverpool win, especially after that Champions League game, man.
Oh my God, the deal with the devil they've made is
okay. The guys leading the league in goals. Okay, you want to know how many penalties he scored? 8. 9 now. 9. Okay. This is ridiculous. This is scripted. Okay. I hope this gets the people that see that have any kind of weight. This is scripted.
Yeah, I mean Liverpool have 9 penalties. Yeah. We have had 2.
Yeah.
That's a huge difference. It's just absurd. Like, yes, they were penalties. Like the first one on Darwin was really soft. He kind of got like kicked in the back of the foot, like not really got kicked by a small bone. And the second one,
I saw that one.
The Southampton player just elbowed the ball with his. He was running onto it like near the end line with Luis Diaz on his back and just sticks out his elbow, just elbow it. The obvious penalty. Like, what is he doing? Like, how is Liverpool getting these calls, having these people make these dumb freaking decisions that go in their way? It was one of the most dumb things I've ever seen someone do, just chicken wing elbow the ball in his box with VAR. What do you think is going to happen? Yeah. So annoying.
Yeah, it's been heinous. And then, like, to see that off the back of, it was the Champions League game on, Wednesday or Tuesday or something like that. Wednesday. PSG, just utter domination, like, had, like, 69% possession or something crazy like that. 27 shots to 2. They had 2 shots all game. Like, they pulled Salah target off after Salah had a stinker, and you think as soon as Salah comes off, like, oh, Liverpool's finally going to be at least humbled and like with a draw. And of course, Harvey Elliott, first touch of the game, comes on, and him and Darwin Nunez combined to give Liverpool a late win in a game like that. It's just, like you said, I think Klopp leaving was like, I'll sell my soul so that Liverpool can finally win a title or something, because they've got some crazy voodoo going on.
Darwin decided to be composure for once.
It's scripted. Like this guy can't hit the broadside of a barn on the regular season. It's scripted. I'm sorry. I'm getting angry about this. This is ridiculous.
Yeah,
it is.
They've got to be the worst team to hate watch this season. I've really tried. I've hate watched Man City a couple times, but Liverpool, no matter what happens, they come out on the winning end of these results, and I just can't seem to explain why.
Yeah, just like the saves that Alisson made. Like, yes, he made some incredible saves, so shout out to him. But like the Kvaratskhelia goal, he was off by an inch, and it didn't even matter. He was like coming back, and it was a sick goal, and of course, like, he's offside. Just like every single thing has fallen into place for Liverpool this year.
It's crazy. It's been like kind of an annoying. Like, I wish the Prem was a little bit more. It's weird because I feel like it's been a super competitive Prem year, I think, in the middle of the pack, but Liverpool just kind of pulled away early, and now it looks like they're going to run away with it. And then also the bottom 3 look like they're pretty set to get relegated. But then everything in between is kind of like a little mosh podge. Like, it seems like anyone could be anyone, but I just wish the top end was a little bit more competitive.
How about we call less penalties for freaking Liverpool? How about that? You hear me, EPL? I hope you hear me. I hope you hear me.
He's calling me out, PGMOL. Speaking of penalties, Chelsea beat Leicester 1-0, but the big story, I think, from this game is Cole Palmer's first penalty in the Premier League ever. Ice cold Cole Palmer starting to melt a little bit. I feel like Maresca came out after the game and said Cole Palmer wasn't feeling well the night before the match, and that it was a close call whether he was even going to play at all. So I'll give him that. But was a little satisfying to see that happen. Sucks for fantasy purposes, but everyone has them anyway, so I guess it doesn't really matter that much. So it was kind of nice to see that happen. But Cole Palmer seems to be on not a generationally bad run, but a bad run for him. I feel like he was Mr. Consistent, Mr. Do-It-All for Chelsea, and he just cannot seem to get it going over the last few matches.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
That's how she goes. That's how she goes, man. You know, not everybody's like that.
My favorite thing that came from this was the thing you posted, Toshi, how Saka has ended the debate about who's better between him, Foden, and Palmer. Saka's been injured for 3 months.
I laughed. I wanted to post that in our group message so bad
good
this morning, but I
don't start that storm. Don't start that storm.
Yeah,
I knew they would.
No, don't start that. I know you know better than that. Honestly, I hope you did. I hope you do actually in the future.
Yeah, I can still drop it at any time when I just want to see something a little crazy. But it's kind of true. I mean, Phil Foden's gone.
He has been good
this season a little bit, and then
Toshi dropping into the fantasy soccer chat just to get all my Arsenal friends to make it even more toxic. You can just sit back and watch my Arsenal friends fight with Christian.
I mean, I could do that because I don't even have a team in that. I'm still in the group message, but I don't even have a team. I could do that easily.
Yeah. I think it'll make for some good content.
Yeah. No, but I think it's a great point and is accurate. I mean, Foden has been missing. I was watching the highlights. I think they might have mentioned his name once, and it was when he picked up the ball around his own box and turned it over. And then Palmer's just been like atrocious on in terms of finishing.
Yeah. And I feel like that's kind of what my argument for, if like I'm being serious for a second, like that's kind of what my argument for Saka has been from the beginning. Is he may not look spectacular, but he's giving you 7 out of 10 every single game, every single time he plays. He's so consistent, so consistent, like at the minimum. And I was saying, like even last year, I was like, I feel like Phil Foden can get away with ghosting because he's got so much talent around him that his team, he can get away with it. You don't really notice it. And then Cole Palmer, I think, great player, been on fire. And obviously they're a young team, so trying to get things going at Chelsea. I don't want to hold it against them too much, but I just felt like people were overrating him just a little bit. I still think he's an amazing player, but I think he still is someone that needs the right conditions around him to succeed, and he's also someone that can kind of put in a stinker every once in a while. And so I just think people need to put a little bit more respect on Saka's name. That's all.
Well said.
Let's see. You got any thoughts there, Tim? You got anything else on Chelsea last year?
It's hard to speak on Chelsea without the reverberating noise in the back of my head from our friends, but dude, I think Cole Palmer, I think he's finally adjusted to Maresco's style of play. He's not the one to every meeting and every game prior say, okay, hey, Palmer, you're the guy. We need you to get a goal or an assist every game. I don't think that's his tactic. I don't think that's his style of play. And so I think this regression is kind of a sign that the whole system is kind of adjusting to Maresco's style, or certain players might take a step back. Yes, maybe that might be right. Maybe no. They played Leicester, so that's a hard litmus test to judge off of that.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like, I feel like they almost need Cole Palmer to be that guy, or else they look pretty lost, especially without Nico Jackson up top, who wasn't the best, but I think did some wonders for their system. I think if you look at their recent form, they lost 3-0 to Brighton, they lost 2-1 to Villa, and then they are on a 2-game win streak in the league, but their last 2 games have been against Southampton and Leicester. And then they also won in between that in Conference League against Copenhagen, and they only beat them 2-1, and it was a pretty competitive game from start to finish as well. So, like, they're definitely struggling as a team right now without Cole Palmer's star power. So, they're a young team. They're a young team still trying to put it together, but I think unless Cole Palmer can get it together, they might be in trouble with dropping off here soon.
How much do you guys make of the whole, you guys spent $400 million on these players, right? How much do you guys make of that? You guys spent that much. How much of a scapegoat do you guys attribute that money spent to their performance?
You want to take that, Spain?
Yeah, sure. I mean, the money doesn't really matter when you can't get the right players to play together. I mean, I think they just kind of spent money without much of a plan, and it's hard to get just like random, talented but also super young players to fit together. And that's been the challenge for anyone. And Maresca's done a better job with it. Things are going well for Chelsea early on, but yeah, they're just not really creating too much up top apart from Cole Palmer. And then Nico Jackson kind of running in and being someone who can kind of hold up the ball for them. I mean, you're buying talent, and they're looking at it more as way to run a business and make money in terms of like spending money, find these loopholes in terms of the contracts. I don't think they're looking at it as a way to really build the best possible team performance-wise on the field. I think they're saying like, hey, we'll make money as a business, and we're going to hope it's going to work out in the field. And with all this talent, we presume it will. And if it's not, we'll sell these players on and figure it out later.
Yeah. To add on to that, I feel like with the money spent, I can't feel as bad for them for feeling.
I don't feel bad at all.
Depth or something.
I don't feel bad at all. So
yeah, like I think, like I guess, like for two sides of the coin, I think they should not be complaining about not having depth up top or something like that. Like for the amount of money they spent, they should have spent it more wisely.
$200 million on two players.
Positions. But then, at the same time, I don't think their intention was ever to be good necessarily right now with the way that they invested. They invested in young players and are planning to be good in like at this point probably like 2, 3, 4 years. But I think when they were investing, they were planning to be good in like 4, 5, 6 years, like when it originally started. So I think it's a little bit too early to judge like how their project is going, but I don't feel bad for them. I actually quite love to see them lose and be bad. So I'm enjoying it right now as a Chelsea hater.
Yeah, well, we play them next, so we'll do a favor for you all and the entire league.
Please do.
Whoop on them.
Please do.
I'd love to see that. All right, let's move on to the last two. Go ahead.
I would say I think they might drop out of. I could see them dropping down like 6th and then dropping out of the Champions League places. They're in a rough run of form.
I could see that as well, especially if Cole Palmer doesn't wake up. I think that's fully what it is. And they've got a pretty tough run to end the season, I think, as well. I don't know what their schedule's looking like, but I feel like I remember like Chelsea having a pretty tough run because I know people are thinking about transferring Cole Palmer out. Really, that's a big reason.
That's tough.
Yeah, so they play us and Spurs to end the season. The last 4 games: Liverpool, Newcastle, United, Forest. Tough last 4.
They got.
Yeah. So.
They have.
Let's see.
Yeah, I'm going to be looking out for the game week 36, third to last game week against Newcastle. I think that might be a Champions League spot.
They have Brentford and Fulham in there too.
Yeah. Yeah, so definitely going to be.
And Man U at Man U May 18th. I don't know if you already said that or not, but.
Oh yeah. Yeah, Spain said it a little earlier, but let's. We only got a couple minutes left on our Google Meet, so let's move on to. Let's touch on. I'll just say Brighton played Fulham. That was a 2-1 matchup. Brighton's now up to 6 after winning their 4th league game in a row. I figured that was going to be a good game. I didn't get to see much of it, to be honest, so I'm a little bit disappointed I missed it. But looks like Brighton's keeping it rolling. And Fulham, I don't know. Have they lost a couple in a row now? Because I felt like they were one of the hotter teams.
Yeah, they're sliding. They're sliding. Unfortunately so.
Oh, no, they lost one and then lost.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
Craven Cottage is not the stronghold that they thought it was.
They're doing all right. Their underlying numbers were really great defensively.
Yeah, they can't.
They just can't seem to maybe get all the output they need offensively right now. And then the other game I wanted to touch on was Bournemouth versus Spurs. That one ended 2-2. Bournemouth go up 2 pretty early on. Evan Nilsson was back, who was a big addition for them. And I'm pretty sure he was one of the goal scorers in that match, which was like really big for him. He's been out with a foot injury. I think it's like metatarsal injury, and came back and looks like he missed no time at all. Tavernier scored in the first half as well, but then Spurs brought that one back. I don't know if we decided, we were talking about this pre-pod, but Sarr had a goal in the 67th minute that was kind of a cross shot. I don't really know what to call it. I'll give him credit for it, but he looked like he didn't celebrate it, so I guess we're going to call it a cross? Question mark?
I'm calling cross.
All right, you heard it here first. It was a cross. And then later in the game, Son is driving into the box. I don't really know why Kepa sold out so hard on this, but he takes him down the box, and Son earns a penalty in the 84th, scores that, and that one ends up 2-2. So Spurs avoid taking another loss in a season that seems to be full of that for them. They're trying to remain scrappy. Ange is really fighting for his job. I think the real test for them, though, is going to be Europa League this coming Thursday. Spurs, I don't know how they did it. I didn't watch the game, but they somehow lost to AZ Alkmaar or whatever.
Hey, come on, show some
what the team is called. But Spurs, do you know what team it is? I thought I said it right. It's AZ Alkmaar.
Yeah, I think I did Eredivisie.
They are.
I think so.
You might be right about that. Yep. Eredivisie. They are the sixth place team in Eredivisie. I don't know if Ajax somehow turned it around, man. They've won 5 in a row. They're top of the Eredivisie right now. I thought they were struggling. But that's a side note. All that to say, Spurs, they're playing for nothing but the Europa League right now. And the only goal in that game that they played in the first leg was an own goal by Bergvall, and they ended up losing the game 1-0. So they've got a big job to do coming back to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium this coming Thursday. I think if they don't manage to go through, that could be really bad for Ange in his future. So that's one to watch out for there.
Yeah, I think Bournemouth deserved that win. They had 2.2 XG to 1.5 for Tottenham. Kluivert somehow didn't score. Worked out good fantasy-wise because I think a lot of people have him. I took him out recently, so that would have emotionally hurt for me. But yeah, Spurs called that one back.
Nice. Well, I feel like now that we are on the topic of Premier League, we should go into our pick'em. Wow, I just saw how badly I did. Oh my, absolute stinker as far as my predictions. I'm kind of.
Oh my god!
I didn't Tottenham right now. Hey man, I was cooking up until then, man. I had a couple of good weeks, but we like to do the.
No, sorry, I just saw Sar's shot / cross. Oh my god!
Oh, you saw?
Bro, call it a shot. Fuck it. Sorry. Yeah.
It was. I think anyone that hasn't seen it should go watch it.
Because Berg wanted the post, dude. They were knocking. This guy is. Oh my dude, that's not a cross, bro. Come on. Oh no, he's looking. Actually, he's looking. He's trying to cross.
I went through the same range of emotions.
That's still electric, though. That's got a bend on it, baby. That is good. Oh, Kepa. Sorry, buddy. That's why you're not on Chelsea anymore.
All right, so we've got our Prem predictions that we want to do. We like to do our lightning rounds. All right, let's do this. So just to give everyone a reminder, this is our lightning round. So what we do is we try and guess the results of all the Premier League matches from the latest round. The last time we did this was February 17th, so it's been a couple of weeks. I think we missed a round of Premier League matches, but to give you where we're at right now, Spain is at 25 out of 52 correct total. I'm at 26 out of 52. I did have a healthy lead on Spain until the last week's predictions, where he went 6 for 11 and I went a whopping 1 for 11. I need to watch that back and see what I think that was so wrong. But let's just get into the new ones.
Have our guest go first. Are you going to go first?
Oh, yeah, actually, let Adam go first.
Yeah,
you ready for this, Adam?
Yeah, that's what we're doing.
That's exactly how we're going to do it. I'll read out the fixtures to you one by one, and then you give whether you think which team is going to win or if you think it's going to be a draw. So, first game this Sunday, the 15th, is going to be Everton hosting West Ham. Okay. And then we got Ipswich hosting Nottingham Forest. Okay. Manchester City hosting Brighton. Southampton hosting Wolves. Draw. Wow. Big result from Southampton. Okay. We got Bournemouth hosting Brentford. Okay. Arsenal hosting Chelsea. Wow. Okay. We're going to go Fulham hosting Tottenham Hotspur. Okay. And then last game on Sunday is Leicester hosting Man United. United. Wow. Okay. Good.
Okay. All right, Toshi, you're up. We're going to go run through. All right, Everton hosting West Ham.
Give me Everton at home.
Okay. Ipswich hosting Nottingham Forest.
I almost want to go draw, but I'll go Forest.
City hosting Brighton.
I'm going to go City.
Southampton hosting Wolves. No Cunha.
Yeah, no Cunha?
Oh, you didn't say that for me. What is this?
Nice.
What is this?
I thought you knew.
Hey, man, you gotta
What is this?
Will Smallbone.
This is the new.
Form. I just love the name
This
and
is the
love
new
the Super
fish
Bowl guy.
getting shafted. That's
Yeah, you're both
crazy.
etched in stone, unfortunately.
Maybe I'm just trying to sabotage Tochi though.
Yeah.
Bournemouth hosting Brentford.
Bournemouth at home.
Arsenal hosting Chelsea.
Arsenal.
Fulham hosting Spurs.
I think yeah,
And Leicester hosting United.
United.
United. Nice.
Cool.
Nice. All right, Spain, you are up. Our last lightning round
boy.
starts now. We've got Everton
No
at
pressure.
home to West Ham.
Everton.
Okay. Ipswich hosting Forest.
Forest.
City hosting Brighton.
I
Ow.
like Brighton here.
Nah,
about that too.
Danny
no,
Welbeck. Danny Welbeck.
no, take it easy.
Oh, he lost out again. I'll just keep rolling through. He'll get
Okay.
back in here. Did I say Southampton hosting Wolves?
No, not yet.
Okay. Yeah, Southampton hosting Wolves.
I was gonna go Southampton, but you went Southampton because of my sabotage. So I'm gonna roll with that line that I sabotaged you. So I'm going with the Wolves here.
Okay, fair enough. And then we are going to go Bournemouth hosting Brentford next.
Myth. This is a tough game. I think it's a good. Should be a fun
That's
watch.
be a
Hopefully,
great game to
Bournemouth.
watch.
Yeah. Arsenal hosting Chelsea, your boys.
Arsenal, all the way.
I
Arsenal.
hope so. I really hope so.
Or Fulham hosting Spurs.
Fulham.
Okay, and then last game is Leicester hosting United.
I think United do this one.
Nice. Confidence is back in United. I feel like we
You're
never
lucky.
get a
You're
full
lucky.
United slate.
Yeah, no, that is very rare. It might have to do with the
Wait,
fact that
wait,
they play
wait,
Leicester.
hold up. What's the consensus on the FA Cup or the Carabao Cup?
The FA
Whatever
Cup
the
draws, huh?
Liverpool,
Oh, Fulham just knocked out
whatever
United
they
on pens,
no,
right?
not Carabao Cup. Sorry. What's the consensus on that?
No, it's you mean the
Oh,
final?
Newcastle
Liverpool.
playing.
Oh,
Yes.
That's this
What is
weekend.
that?
That's
This
this
weekend?
Sunday.
wow.
This Sunday,
Nice. I
12:30.
didn't realize.
Good thing we got our Good thing we got our Newcastle ITK with us to keep us in the know.
Right.
Sunday,
right.
12:30.
My consensus is, I feel like it's the season of destiny for Liverpool. I feel like they're going to go all out and they're going to somehow cheese their way to like.
I swear to God,
penalty,
if
yeah.
Solid scores in this game, I will off myself.
I mean, Anthony Gordon got himself a
But
red
that
card.
was also part of the plot, Spange. You don't understand? It's also part of the plot. Yeah, he's out.
Wow.
Yeah, because he got a red card in the FA
Yeah.
Cup.
Oh wow! And they tried to appeal it. I'm reading right now. They tried to appeal it, and
It's bullshit, dude. It's bullshit.
Sufficient grounds. There's not.
They
Sufficient
did the
grounds to
same.
appeal.
So if they would have appealed it right, wouldn't he have been able to play
It's
for the week
bullshit.
until
They did the same
game?
thing with Nick Pope last time. We had to play fucking
Maybe,
Carius
but-
last time. It was
Yeah, I remember that.
despicable.
Hey, I mean, I'll be the biggest Toon fan possible on Sunday, and I'm behind you, man.
Oh,
I'm rooting for
I'll
No,
be-
it's
I'll be
it's
rooting hard,
Harvey.
too.
No, hey, all this week was, boys, was Harvey Barnes prep time, baby. Harvey Barnes prep time. All right.
Sure.
He's getting his first 2 minutes. He's gonna cook. That guy is elite.
Fair
I'm
enough,
telling
man.
you.
All right, so Adams clearly picked United. I'm gonna have to say, Newcastle United. Sorry, I'm gonna have to say Liverpool just because they have to deal with the devil, and they're gonna, get
That's fair.
at least one penalty, and I'm gonna hate to see
Yeah, I don't
it.
know. Yeah, something about this game just screams penalty. But let's see. I think that's it for the games coming up this weekend. Thank you for the FA Cup or the Carabao Cup reminder again. And I just want to finish this episode off with just a tiny bit of FPL talk. We don't have to go too in depth, but there's some big stuff coming up with game week 29. Lots of blanks here. So we've got, who is it? Newcastle and Liverpool blanking, as well as Crystal Palace and Aston Villa, I think is the fourth team.
Yep.
So Spain, what did you think of last week at FPL, and how are you looking to navigate this?
This past week was pretty non-eventful. Basically, everyone captained Salah. I heard there was a little bit of people in the community trying to push for Palmer, but unfortunately, I think that kind of died down, and not many people went for Palmer, which would have been awesome because I went Salah, and basically everyone in our league did, except for I think Christian and Logan, who are way down in the bottom.
Logan just keeps forgetting to set his lineup.
But yeah, it's basically a non-event because like so few players scored. Selves came in huge for me with an 8-pointer, and then Captain Salah. I got a small red arrow, I think 20k down, but didn't really affect me too much. I think I won my FPL Cup matchup, the last
Nice.
one, so I'm moving on in that, which is fun. I think I'm out top my group in the group stage. So good week overall, or fine week overall. In terms of moves, I got 2 frees. I've got 10 players. Currently, one of them being Harwood Bellis though for Southampton. So he's like probably a 1-pointer or 0-pointer if he does get 90. I'm gonna move on Mateta for someone, probably Chris Wood, and I'm deciding whether to do Harwood Bellis to a defender. Or to do Neto to a midfielder. My 2-week punt on Neto kind of paid off, except for in the first week alone, except for the fact that I took out Clivert. So I came out, Clivert came out ahead by like 3 points, so I was net on the losing side barely. But the injuries, Isak not playing, and the Mateta injury kind of made that worse than it would have been.
Gotcha. I feel like on my end, I don't know what happened. Were there people that had chips active that got them? Like, I feel like I looked at everyone in our mini league and everyone was on a red arrow, unless you had like Ollie Watkins and Sells.
Yeah, I think a lot of people started playing their assistant managers when like the general public started playing the assistant manager. More people started playing it, and it's like a 3-week chip. So I think people are just playing the assistant manager. That has to be why like there's so many like general reds.
Yeah, I was a little frustrated. I was like, man, like I feel like I know my team didn't do much, but like I feel like I shouldn't be like on this big of a red arrow given like whatever. But then I checked everyone else's and everyone was on a red arrow for some reason. So
yeah, and there was like no one that scored a bunch of points or like any differentials that really scored. I looked at like on FPL game week, like the team players that affected me. There was no one that had anything above like 2 or 3 points. So I think it was chips.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, let me roll it back to my team. I ended the week on 52 points. I'm kind of happy considering I just rolled my transfer and tried to really prep for blank game week 29. The only person I would have brought in is probably like Chris Wood for Gakpo maybe. But I'm glad I was patient because that didn't pay off, and I think I want to go to Holland next. Going into next week, I have Trent, Gakpo, Salah, Munoz, and Isak all blanking. But I've got 3 free transfers, so I can essentially get 2 players in my starting lineup that aren't playing. I can transfer in new players and then bench the rest of them. And my plan right now is to go Holland in for Gakpo, who has been extremely disappointing over the last few weeks, unfortunately. And then Alexander-Arnold is also going to leave my team to free up some money as well. Yep, he's gone. He's getting the axe. I was really, I was thinking about transferring out Munoz, but I think his
You were
transfer,
talking
his
so
fixtures on either
sweet.
side
You were
were
talking
too
so
good to
sweet,
give
man.
up. So I'm holding on to him. And then, yeah, so Trent has to go because I got too much team value built up in Mo Salah and Isak, and I think both of those players are also essential
Yeah, same.
right now. So it will be Erling Haaland in for Gakpo, probably Josko Gvardiol in for Alexander Arnold, but that one's not as sure. And then in order to free up some money for those moves, Cole Palmer also getting the axe. I need him to get out of here because he's not performing. I've got too much money, or not too much money in him, but he's too expensive a player to him not be performing like that. And I think Holland is worth it. So that's kind of my plan. I might switch things around, but I think my super sneaky move is going to be that I'm probably going to regret, to be honest. But I have the exact money to if I get Palmer and or not Palmer, if I get Holland and Guardiola in. I could downgrade Palmer to my boy Alejandro Garnacho as a little differential against Leicester. He's got Leicester away. I know it's not a home fixture, but I'm telling you, Garnacho, I've been watching him. He's not quite getting the goals and the assists. He has one assist that he got recently, but he's playing well, and we look the most dangerous when we have him on the field, and I just have a feeling he's got something in him coming soon, and I think he's worth the punt. And then worst case scenario, I can wild card him out in game week 31. So I think that's what I'm going to go for in FPL this week.
Yeah, it's not for a hit, is it?
Not for a hit. That's for free.
Yeah, I'd hammer that. That's fun. It's your team. It's your player. They're playing Leicester. There's not too many other good fixtures out there. Too many other players I would go for. Yeah, Leicester. You can going against Leicester is always a great call. Definitely, I love that shot actually.
Yeah. So that's the plan as of right now. The only other thing that I might consider is if I want to take a hit to get Dango out of my team and get Clivert in and kind of correct getting the wrong Bournemouth mid, I might do that. I just feel like it becomes more of an uphill battle to try and make up that -4 hit that I'd have to take to do that. And then I also don't know who I'd replace Palmer with. It'd have to be like probably in Nwaneri or Enzo Fernandez, given the funds that I'd had left over. So I'm not sure how I feel about that. A lot less fun than betting on Garnacho and not having to take the hit.
But yeah, so could you take the hit and do Garnacho?
No.
Yeah, definitely do Garnacho no hit. Way more fun.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Way
saying.
more fun.
That's what I'm saying. But yeah, that's all I had.
Dango is really tough though because he didn't start, so he might be like 2 1-pointers over the next week. But
I can bench him.
Oh, okay.
I'll bench him next week for sure.
Oh, okay.
No,
you don't have to start him in 29.
I don't have to start him. I can start Semenyo in 29. I can start Mbumo, Semenyo, Garnacho, and I guess I have to start him or I have to start Housen. Is what it is. I either have to start 4 in the back or I got to start a 3 back and then play Dango.
That's fine. Even though in a blank game week like that, definitely I really like the Garnacho move and no hit. If you don't have to start Dango, especially.
Nice. That's the validation I think I needed right there.
Yeah, definitely do that. That's way more fun.
Yeah, you're fucked.
All right. Well, that is all I had.
I don't know.
Think?
Man. That
Hey,
was last time.
We'll wait. We'll wait and see. If he scores, I'll be coming straight for you in that group message.
Listening.
Just
Okay,
know.
sure. Go for it.
Fair enough. Got any more FPL thoughts, Spain, just in general?
No, just putting it out there right now. I've been coming for the top spot. I'm coming for the top spot in our league. I'm taking it back. Taking back the crown this year.
I hope
Connor
you
Anderson,
are, man.
if you're listening to this, I'm coming for your spot. You're probably
Anderson,
not.
look
but
at
I'm coming
me.
for your spot.
Look at me,
We
Anderson.
need to see this.
He's coming for you.
Putting him on watch.
He's coming for you.
We lost Toshi at the end, but Adam, thanks for joining. Thanks for being our second guest on a pod. Great having you on. Our Newcastle ITK, that's in the know for those of you that are not in the know with the terminology. But that is Let's Talk Ball, episode 24. Thanks for everyone for tuning in, listening. Got an exciting game and excited to see the Carabao Cup final. Hoping for a Newcastle win up the tune for Adam Odds.